Yep, gotcha. 5, 4, 2, 1. All right, we're back. Scott, continue, please.
Oh, so I just thought that was a really good example of me bringing a basic idea for the song. Um, Again, anybody's writing songs. I don't know if you have a formula or not. I don't. It just worked out where I had the chord structure and the lyrics, and then brought it to the rehearsals, and Roger was able to say, "Well, can what?" Because I said I don't have a break. I don't know what to do, and Roger's like, "Well, let's try this," and we did it, and it fit perfectly, and that's the advantage of collaborating with people you trust. Uh, it's awesome. Um, I don't know if I have any more notes about that particular song. Um, I do have other questions for us,
Throw them
but
out.
no,
I have a comment on that particular song.
yeah.
I remember James B. Ricks coming up to me. I don't remember what the place or the time was, but that after that came out, he's sort of like, "You guys are ready for the radio, for like radio." Like that's
Well, it's an interesting song in that
and when I
it's
say radio, I don't mean community radio. I mean
no,
like
no,
commercial
no.
radio.
I know, I know. It's a pretty radio friendly song
Yeah,
as far as a rock song.
nothing to bleep. There's no nothing to bleep
No,
for
but
starters.
I think it's just interesting. You want I don't even know what I want as a songwriter. I just want to write a good song.
Mhm.
That's it. And
Yep.
this one, sometimes Kerouac always talked about, write about the personal, and it'll be people will get it. And so I did that with this song, as I did most of them. Uh, but I think it was a rock song without being. It wasn't a heavy metal song. It wasn't a punk rock song. It was just a fucking rock song. That's all it was. And I think James picked up on that. And
Yes.
uh, at the end of the day, I think that's you
Mhm.
know what you can the most you can hope for. You know.
Right on, man.
Truth. Truth.
So
Now,
Scott,
go ahead, Roger.
now say you had some other questions. Let's hear a couple. Throw them out there.
So, so, uh, and I mentioned this. We've been contacted by Craig Wilson. I think it was Craig Wilson, right?
Craig
Mhm.
S.
Uh,
Wilson.
Craig S. Wilson.
Esquire.
The other his own.
Yeah, and asking us different questions about our background and shit like that. And
Quite the historian that dude is.
he is. He's
Yeah.
very and I'm glad he's doing it. I think
Yeah,
it's
me too.
I
Yeah.
think, and I'm just gonna put this out there real quick. Carbondale has a special place in music, and I think it is because of several reasons. It's geographic area where it is, between St. Louis, Chicago, Memphis, and Nashville. That it is a college town. Um, I think those have all influenced what comes through there, and what was able to be done there. And there aren't a lot of places like that. There really aren't.
Brady Campbell said in a post in another group that per capita there are more really extremely talented guitar players that come out of Carbondale or are part of the Carbondale music scene than any other place that he knows. And he should know. I mean, he's been
Mhm.
involved in the music production community for his whole adult career across the country in some of the biggest venues for some of the biggest shows in America. So he speaks with some authority there. So Scott, I think you got something. There's something that's really important about something about the geographic area, but also something about the talent pool that has made its way there too.
Well, and I think that geographic area has supported that talent pool. Where here I am now currently on Cape Cod, which beautiful place, but it is not there aren't really universities here on Cape Cod. There's one. It's not really a place where there are venues where people would travel between big cities to play. It's off the beaten path, and you don't. And what I see here is that I don't see like high school kids or 20-year-olds getting into bands. That's just not happening at all. Where in Carbondale,
It
it was
does.
it
It
was so
does.
cool in Carbondale because not only was there the encouragement to be in a band, but it was an encouragement to be in an original band. Do
Mhm.
your own shit, whatever that shit is, whether it's jazz or jazzcore or hardcore or whatever. Do your shit. Um, Here, there's none of that. None of that. And that's why I think Carbondale has such a special place. And you've got and again you've got the university there, so you're bringing in uh, professors, instructors, families from all around the world with different uh, influences, different musical influences. I hope it doesn't change.
Mhm.
Um, I've seen that like even Southern Hills is closed now, which saddens me. Um,
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's actually wow. It's actually decrepit as hell. Sorry to say. If
yes,
if I'm thinking of the same place you're
yes,
talking
you are,
about.
you are, you are, you are.
Yeah.
So, how do you keep, Dave, you and Roger are there. I don't
We're an
know,
hour apart, but
but you're
except
there.
when
I mean,
except when he's working in town,
yeah,
that
I'm
we're
there every
right
day,
there.
pretty much. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, you have experienced that vibrant uh cultural influence. So, I'm not
I like
asking you for answers. I'm just wondering what your take is
this,
on.
all of it as much as I can. Can't say I can go to every show or anything, but you know,
Well, I know that I would say that we would be remiss if we didn't mention people like Adam Fletcher
yes.
and several of the other movers and shakers that have been part of the town and have worked really hard to make the community vibrant still. Um, and there are,
Walter.
Walter Witt, Blake up at the hangar, multiple folks that are committed to providing venues and opportunities for musicians. And I think that the underground scene has ebbed and flowed over the years, and so there have been times where there were not nearly as many venues available for an up and coming new band to just kind of like find a place to play out. But it's definitely on the upswing, if you will. There are many opportunities for people to play, and our our side project band DNA is a prime example of that. I mean, we existed as a concept for the last 35 years, but actually playing out was, we had more records than we had played out. So, but in the last year and a half, every opportunity that I looked to say, "Hey, could we play there?" The answer wasn't, "Yeah, send me a digital press kit and someone will get back with you." It was, "Sure, when do you want to play?" All right, and that's for some guys like us who, although some people would recognize the name of some of the people in there just because we've been around forever, we were not a guarantee that anybody was going to come out and see us, right? It wasn't that. They were just willing to say, "Sure, you want to play? Here's what we're going to do, and here's what we offer you," and made it attractive enough that we were fine with it. And if we were fine with it, that means any one of those people that were spurred on to make that creative choice, let's get together and play some music, have venues, have places to go, and can develop their own unique sound and style and not worry about whether it fits whatever particular box. So I know you mentioned Craig earlier. Just recently in one of the like Carbondale Underground or something like that, he posted a list of working bands in the Carbondale area. It's longer than your arm now. I mean, that's just how many new
That's
and good
awesome.
acts are playing,
That's
right? So
awesome.
that is pretty awesome. And it's also one of the reasons why Walter up at PK's, when we were discussing in a previous podcast, we were like, maybe we could do a show or something like that. It wasn't, "Walter, please let us do this. I worked with, we played here and we did really well. So can we do this?" It wasn't that at all. I just like, "Hey, Walter, could we do a show?" And he's like, "Sure." So now we have a show, right? I mean, that's
So
that's
I
awesome.
and I'm wondering if, it's still a product of where Carbondale is, because if you have that many bands, they're able to go to St. Louis or Springfield or Chicago or Memphis or Nashville, they or Evansville or Indianapolis. That's a good geographic spot. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And it's a very fertile breeding ground. So like for example, um, Jenny and the Howdy Boys, the people who
Oh
go out,
shit.
the people who would go out to see that band, which is really kind of a dyed in the wool country band, but all original compositions, top notch musicians. Um, the same group that would see Jenny and the Howdy Boys would see Pet Mosquito or see Children of the Rat Temple or see the DNA Vibrators. And that means that that there is not just a
Right.
group of artists that are working, but there is a whole group of consumers that really want to hear a breadth of music that they're not going to get someplace else. That's awesome. So that geography not just attracts the people who are willing to create, but it also attracts the people who appreciate, right? That's pretty
yeah,
awesome.
Mhm.
yeah,
And
True.
that is
True.
a rarity.
Yeah.
Also
That's
true.
you don't know when you're living there sometimes how special that is. And then you move and you're like, holy shit. I mean, when we moved to Louisiana and I was like, oh, we're gonna be in a college town and not too far from Baton Rouge, LSU, SEC school, it'll be like Athens. It was like, oh no, 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 no. I mean, that's a Carbondale is a special fucking place.
yeah.
That is
I think it's like an Athens, Georgia type of place, that there aren't that many.
Yeah, I think you're right about that for sure.
and it's a live let live existence between the bands and the musicians, and people appreciate one another's band, as opposed to every other band is competition, which helps foster a great music scene and cross pollination in bands and styles, and and it encourages fans to do the same thing, or listeners.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a special place.
Well said, Ralph.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
good question there, Scott. Any other questions you have?
I've got a lot. I do, and I'm sorry. And if you guys need to step off, we can pick it up some other place. But and I know we're gonna talk next week. We're gonna have time to drink coffee and whatever, and talk. But now that I've got you on recording,
Let's talk more rock, motherfucker.
yeah.
Sorry if that was this public.
No, that's
Edit that out.
Sure, we'll edit motherfucker out.
so and it, this it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of you.
To you too.
Thank you very much. I've had a chance to talk to a couple of you about some films that I've watched. One is called Whiplash. It's a pretty intense film about a jazz instructor and his protege.
Oh yeah.
Simmons played the instructor, and he's a fucking awesome actor.
Yep.
And intense. And then I watched Tar recently, and so one of the things I want to talk about is just the topic in Whiplash is that if you have the opportunity to teach somebody who is
Gifted.
Yeah, just gifted, bird, whoever, someone
Sure.
what to what extent do you go to get them there? And maybe to back off from that a little bit is, do you philosophically, whether it's music or even athletics, I coached basketball, I coached volleyball, do you push a kid who you see as a protege, do you push them to the point of breaking because the world would be better by them being their best self? Or do you just let it go and just
Or by pushing them to that, do they break the world in some sort of
it's I mean,
it's like
as a
over
teacher,
over the top kind of shit,
as a teacher, as a parent, I kind of touched on this with Ralph a little bit about Whiplash, because
what I love, never mind.
What I love about that movie is they don't answer the question. They do not answer the question. You've got,
yes, you're exactly right about that.
On the one hand, it's like, okay, a kid died, a kid killed himself because of this guy. And on the other hand, at the end of the movie, you see this other kid push himself to his limit as a
over the over the limit.
But
so
at the end of that
maybe,
movie, the end of Whiplash, the kid is finally where the instructor, the kid transcends the relationship of J.K. Simmons being the instructor anymore. He hits that, you see them lock eyes, and that's when J.K. Simmons knows, okay, he's crossed. He's in the stratosphere. he's playing on a level, and it's like the fucking Matrix, right? He's seeing things like, at least that's the way I take it. And I think the risk is that most people are not going to get there in anything. And you will break a lot of people if that's your method of instruction and motivation in trying to get them to do that. But I think you know that because it's a 1 in 1,000 that's going to bust through that and get to that place where it's not music anymore. It's fucking something else. You know, it's like I was thinking when you were talking about Larry Bird and Bobby Knight. Larry Bird went to Indiana. Knight's a lot like J.K. Simmons. Bird had enough ego strength to know that the Knight way wasn't going to get him where he needed to be, and was able to sidestep that. And Knight would have been a block for him, not a way through. But I think when you get obsessed people in whatever the art form is, you know, they will see somebody who has that potential and try to drag them to that fucking edge, and most of them are going to go over instead of taking flight. I mean, I love that film. I certainly would not do well with J.K. Simmons, but I don't know that I have that level. I'm not going to be able to transcend the way he wants that musician to transcend.
So I haven't seen the movie, Scott, I've got the gist of the movie from just in general, right? I kind of understand the concept, but the question essentially is, if I would to try to boil it down, is like, is the societal or the larger cultural value of creating the conditions so that the individual transcends in some way, is that worth the violence done to that person?
Yeah, yeah.
Either it's cultural, emotional, psychic, whatever you want to call it, damage that is done. And I think Ralph is right on target where he is saying that the likelihood that any particular individual is going to rise to that challenge because the right circumstances are in place, that they will not be damaged beyond a point of not being able to transcend and exceed expectations in that particular vocation. The likelihood that that's going to happen for any individual, I think, is probably so small that it's probably not worth the risks associated with it.
Yeah.
It still happens. I think it's rare that it happens because an instructor does that with the person. Frankly, most instructors, I don't think, are probably talented enough to be able to balance the things that they need to balance to be able to get that out of a person
Yeah,
to begin
yeah,
with.
yeah.
And
Interesting
and
perspective right
and
there.
and would probably make mistakes that would be more damaging than helpful along the way because their own ego would get in the way, right? But but what the reason why I still think we see transcendent geniuses in music or sports or other places is because there is still an inherent inner motivational component that would exceed any instructor's ability to do certain things. So the instructor can be a facilitator and can probably push a person beyond what they would consider their normal natural limits. But the ones that transcend the sport or transcend the genre or the skill, they're the ones that also had the very difficult to define set of things already moving inside them, I think, to make that happen for them.
It's almost like it's not even an instructor. I was thinking about Steve Earle's comment about Townes Van Zandt, working with Townes Van Zandt as a songwriter, and it's something like, I learned a lot from Townes Van Zandt, but he wasn't a very good role model. And I think, I think, I think the
Yeah.
person who helps somebody else who's extremely gifted make that leap or burn through that cloud or whatever it is that it really is, it's a point of no return and no coming back of, it's you're going to be changed by the transition to becoming this elite artist or athlete or whatever it is, and there's no going back, and you may not survive going across. And the person who's helping you do that is the person is the person who's fucking on fire themselves and has encouraged you to douse yourself with gas and light the fucking match. So I don't know that there's anything inherently healthful sometimes about those people who help or try to push that person to their breaking point. And it's not and I don't know that it's necessarily about helping them.
And I think it's contextual. So I don't know if I think it was I think I replied to Ralph on this, not to Dave and Roger, but that I thought Whiplash was Full Metal Jacket for musicians.
A little.
And in Full Metal,
That's fairly accurate, man.
Full Metal Jacket, you look at it and you're like, oh, Lee Ermey is a fucking asshole, but his goal is to keep these guys alive. His goal is to send Marines out to keep them alive, and I think that's what in Whiplash, I think that's what he was thinking as their instructor, is like, you're gonna get fucking chewed up out there, and I'm gonna make you the best jazz musician you can possibly be. And that was his goal.
I'll say about, at least for me, playing in Crank, it has made other, and I've played in other bands, and I've played with some really nice people and good people and friends and all of that. But there's a certain thing from our best gigs that I haven't been able to recreate in anything else. And it's this feeling of just being totally on the frayed, ragged edge and wrung out and hanging on for dear life as we would play through the set. And when we were done, it was like, it wasn't like I'm in a happy jam band. It was an emotional
No, we were not.
an emotional us against the world, fucking going down in flames on, it's hard to describe it, but it's I don't feel like I've played, and I'm older now, so it's good I don't get to play like that all the time. But when I'm done playing and I'm completely wrung out, like I'm beat, I'm tired, I'm mentally fatigued, I'm physically fatigued, emotionally fatigued, that's when I'm like, that's the fucking magic. Like, I was to be that committed to the music.
Yeah.
And whatever it was with those songs, and I mean, it's hard to recreate that. And it's both a good thing, but it's a rare thing.
And I don't know if Dave remembers this, or
Hi, I'm still here. Yes.
if I don't know if so. Pete and I were down. Pete Reynoso and I were down in New Orleans many years ago, and Pete was drummer for 138, and it's I think second incarnation or third. I don't remember.
I think the bass players were the ones that were changing in and out.
Yeah. So Pete Reynoso, probably second after Jeff Townsend. Anyway,
That's right.
we were down there and Pete said, dude, do you remember when we were at a show? We were playing
Husker Du.
and you looked back at me and you were like, do you know this fucking song or not?
You said that rather strongly. I did I actually voice that strongly?
No. Pete said that. Pete
said that. Okay,
Pete
okay.
said that. I said that to him. And I was like, oh shit, I don't remember that, man. I'm so sorry. He was like, no, he was like, you wanted the fucking song. You wanted you wanted everybody to know the fucking song. And I was like,
Yeah,
nah.
you broke it, you bought it. Kind of thing.
And
we're doing it.
Yeah, and I don't know if I appreciated I don't know if I want to be that type of guy in a band where I'm like, you know,
I just want to be a guy in a band, not any type of guy in a band. Just a guy in a band. I don't want to have any type.
I don't know if I want to be James Brown and like finding Ralph for being offbeat or something like that.
Yeah, James Brown. Well, God bless him and curse him to hell for being pretty much an asshole. But
well, that's the only reason why I restarted up the DNA Vibrators is because I wanted to be a dictatorial overlord. I'm fulfilling my fantasies. No, I hear what you're saying. There are moments I think that we've all experienced that together where there was not frustration with an individual, at least not from my recollection, but just that like, damn, we didn't nail this. We had the chance to nail it and we didn't do it. And sometimes that's because I fucked up or somebody else or whatever. I mean, that's just nature, right? And you gain some perspective when you get a little more age, like you were saying, right? It's not nearly as important. Those details tend to work themselves out. They're all temporal, and most people forget all of the things that didn't work. And we have that positive bias to remember the things that were happy and good and it worked for us, right? And that's true for audiences as well as for people that play. But yeah, during those moments, yeah, there are some of those times where you're just like, it was important or it felt important at the time, and so you do get invested.
And I think when you do have those moments, that's what I was saying. For me, it's like, I mean, it's almost like a drug addict, right? Like you're chasing those moments where it's all, at least in your experience, where all the fucking pieces fall into place and it's more than music. I mean, I always think about that gig we played with the band with the fucking gloves, the dude, and we played after them. I can't remember what their name was, but we started with that Willy Wonka video and we slammed slammed right into My Time. That, and it was just the fucking greatest. At least that's what I remember, and that's the story.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we did have a multimedia presentation thing there for a few shows at least.
And that, it's just like, well, fuck, I want that all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I drive the people I play with fucking nuts. Like I'm no good for them. I'm J.K. Simmons. Yeah, I'm like the soft,
nice tie back to the prior
I'm like the
Hey,
discussion.
gentlemen, we are just a few minutes left on this session, so I'm going to suggest maybe that if people want to hear more about the philosophy of music excellence and genius and how we work to destroy those things and all the people we meet,
They
that you
should come out and see
that
our
you
show.
come out to the Crank Show on Thursday the 29th at PK's in Carbondale and see us do our thing, and either marvel at how we have met our own expectations, or laugh at how we have failed miserably at achieving those expectations, or just generally come out and have a blast because that's going to happen for sure. Um,
And there's t-shirts.
yes,
Yeah.
t-shirts and
Many t-shirts. We
uh,
have t-shirts
and
out the wazoo.
and DNA has t-shirts and stickers and CDs and shit. Crank will have some CDs too, I think. So anyhow, please come out, have fun, support PK, support local or Carbondale music. We're not local. Well, some of us are not local anymore, but the music still has its roots and heart in Carbondale.
Define local.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're
Well, Earth.
200
Hey.
miles away, you're not local. If you're within 100 miles,
Yeah.
If I
You're
feel
local.
if I feel the love, I might move back.
There you go.
All
And then, so
right.
also, guys, what I'd like to do, if we still have some time, is after we wrap this one up, we can get back together and talk about some other shit. So,
You
Yeah.
mean stay
all
on?
right.
Stay,
Yes.
stick around.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
Yeah.
that
Okay.
sounds cool. I'm gonna go take a pee break and bless.
All right, cool. All right, so people out on the internet, people who are looking at our event page, other people that come by and maybe check out what we're doing here, please come out. We'll see you in very short order, just a couple of weeks, really, and then we'll get together. So peace and love to all of you. We'll see you soon. All right, gentlemen, we'll see you in just a little bit. All right, bye, everybody.
Awesome.
Bye, bye, Carbondale.